Welcome to Overwatch. Okay, now we're doing it properly because I haven't been interrupted. Say hello to YouTube, Twitch chat, by the way. We are doing today something a little bit different. It's Torb and Zen is the game, but this was actually a very interesting game for me to watch because I saw so much tilt happening for stupid reasons, for really stupid reasons. People just not being helpful, people provoking other people, all that kind of stuff. So I think because I'm sick, I think this is a good opportunity for me to like ramble on and on and on. Hey! Another 2 months.
Great guy creating great content. Keep going, Josh.
I are a great guy. I are a great guy indeed. Thank you so much, ARGH, for sticking with us for the second month. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But yeah, we're going to be talking about tilting, how to deal with tilting, how to handle tilts and that kind of stuff. Yeah, just doing all that kind of stuff. As Little Pink Bowser points out, if you've got questions, best to save them towards the end. It's easier for me to answer them. And yeah, I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm a little bit poorly, got a little bit of flu, so my voice might not be like purely up to snuff. And I'm just a bit tired and a bit achy, but we're gonna soldier through this anyway because I want to do it and I want to keep going. So let's do that. Okay, I'm gonna slide Twitch chat off by Twitch chat. So game rating, pretty much low platinum. Basically, we've got a couple of diamonds sort of dotted in, but whether they're really diamonds or not, we don't know. This is actually going to come up and be relevant later as we get to like rank shaming, which is hilarious to me. Which, you know, when you sit back and you watch it from the outside, and I want to pause it like right now because you can already see why this is called Tourbillon and Tilt, I'm sure. But rank shaming, like when you watch it from the outside, when when you're in Masters or Grandmasters and you see people like going, well, I'm Diamond, or well, you're fucking like carried to die, it becomes so stupid and so irrelevant. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit later as well. But you could probably already see there's some interesting things happening. We've got Tourbillon, we've got Hanzo, we've got Mercy, who's almost becoming like a dirty word lately as well, which I don't understand it myself. I think Mercy can bring quite a lot. She doesn't quite bring as much as Anna to like as a main healer, and doesn't quite have enough utility as an ancillary healer, but she's not by any regards a terrible, terrible pick that's going to drag the team down to fucking bronze. Instantly, please, no! Please, please, God, no, no, Torb! Rhino Hog, Black Shot, okay, he's doing his... So man like Cam instantly with the please, no! Honestly, on this map, like this team lineup, I'd say honestly everything except the Hanzo is probably garbage. No, sorry, everything is fine except for the Hanzo, which might be a bit garbage. The way I weight this kind of thing is pretty simple. Basically, I like to have one standard DPS, one constant, like consistent source of DPS, something that can barrage the barrier, something that can keep pressure on the barrier a lot and cause a lot of issues for anyone just trying to take too many liberties. And then you have one sort of specialist DPS who can just like get picks or do a little bit of sniping here and there, that kind of stuff. I'm noticing my green screen isn't quite perfect up here as well. Oh, that should change maybe after a tab is pressed. We get a little bit more light here, otherwise I can fix that in a second. And like people saying, we need a second healer. No, you don't. Mercy, honestly, Mercy is enough. And if this comp gets rolling, it will actually hold really, really well. So let's focus on Tourbillon. Like, what are our goals on Tourbillon right now? Our goals on Tourbillon is pretty simple. We want to get set up. We want to get a turret in a good location. This is purely what I would call a burner turret, where you just place it and then you let it die. When you're placing a burner turret, you've got to keep it in mind that the enemy team will be, trying to get rid of it as soon as possible. Luckily, this doesn't go on ultimate charge anymore, so it's purely disposable. But we also want to be getting armor packs out as much as we can, especially on stuff like the Mercy. Keeping Mercy alive. Zarya with armor pack is actually really, really strong as well. This guy is absolutely fine. Like, this guy has the right approach, okay? If you've got a team lineup and you don't agree with the team lineup, like, let's talk about solving that first. Because this happens in Overwatch, right? You get people coming into your game, and they insta-lock Hanzo. The worst thing you could do, actually, let's let this play out while I do this little mini rant. The worst thing you could do is go, oh my fucking god, you fucking idiot, what are you doing? You should swap, you should instantly change character. Oh my god, Hanzo's terrible, you terrible noob, why are you picking that? You seagull wannabe, trash, blah blah blah, rah 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 rah. Instantly tilts everyone, instantly makes the Hanzo not want to listen to you because he just wants to like spite you. Instantly puts everyone in a bad mood because suddenly everyone's just hostile to each other, everyone's just being a shit to each other. The way you approach this, okay, is if someone has insta-locked a hero you don't like, first things first, you probably got to give them the benefit of the doubt, okay? Unless your team comp is total garbo, and I mean like, you got no supports, no tanks, then you could start putting pressure on people to say, okay, we probably want to change a couple of things because this just really isn't going to work out right. If you're still running like 2-2-2, but you've got Hanzo plus Tourbillon, Okay, fine, whatever, but if this doesn't work, we got to start making changes very quickly, and that's actually what gets said here, and this is, to me, the correct approach is, okay, if we lose the first point, Torbjorn, you've got to swap. And we'll talk about this turret location in a second. It's a pretty good one. I actually quite like it. Like, Torbjorn's a very knowledge-based hero, and this is one of the better turret locations for defending the point. The only problem I have with this is we lose a lot of pressure in that location. But yeah, in general, like, you've just got to work with people, and you cannot start a game by just going, fuck you all. Now, one thing I will say with our play here on Torbjorn is we're okay-ish spamming here. The one thing I'd say be careful of is, like, if they are running an offensive Widowmaker, she can land it. It's a very easy shot to, like, predict this sort of spam. So, honestly, I'd say we want to be moving back about 2-3 seconds earlier, and we want to be doing that for a simple reason. This turret's going to get spotted out very quickly. It's just generating ult charge for us, so we get a good, like, 15%. But this turret has to be built by the time the enemy team could be pushing onto the point. Now, luckily, they start going slowly. We get a pick onto the Genji. Hanzo doing his job. Hanzo doing what he needs to be doing. The one issue I have with this turret location, okay, it's actually a pretty good turret location in terms of the Hollywood because it can defend the point pretty well and it will stop people coming through this. If people are basically in this area, it will start shooting at them, and it actually has the benefit of, like, having a grass cover. So there's, like, a block of line of sight. They just see the turret laser sort of looking through and shooting at them. It's actually very hard to get a visual on that. Okay, now we've got our turret up. Now we want to be definitely doing our job. Our job is to put pressure on the enemy Reinhardt. Torbjorn's actually pretty good at doing that as well. Just his right click can deal quite a lot of damage. His left click is actually pretty consistent. And as long as it's a big target that you don't have to aim much on, we can actually cause some issues for that Reinhardt and make them bleed a little bit. That said, we also want to be doing stuff like keeping an eye on this. Like this Genji dashing into the backline, we should probably be helping handle that with the Hanzo. The reason why is pretty simple, is because we can flex into doing that pretty reliably, and our shelling the Reinhardt barrier isn't that important to stuff like getting rid of a Genji when he's almost killed one of our Mercy. Luckily, the Hanzo managed to peel away, and Hanzo, like, he's fucking nailed this Genji twice. Now we can definitely do some tank busting, because, hey, we're Torbjorn. Torbjorn's actually pretty good at that. You notice our turret's doing an okay job now, as someone has gone around the back. It's a Roadhog, so okay, now we have to be a little bit careful. Highest priority is bait the hook. Second highest priority is, honestly, we could stay medium distance in this fight, because if we get close, we could get one shot here. So hook's down, we get too close, and we instantly get shot. And the reason why we get shot and die is because Torbjorn is a square. I've said it before, Tracer is 95% spunk, to quote the ancient post now for Buttgate, but Torbjorn is 50% head, okay? Torbjorn, like, is half his hitbox is his head. You cannot get that close to a Reinhardt, not a Reinhardt, a Roadhog, when you're playing Torbjorn, because he just has to put the crosshair in the middle of you, and your big square body will just eat it all up. I'm fine with rebuilding the turret in the same location as before. It was doing a good job. The Roadhog flanked around, but wasn't really doing much. Their Roadhog should honestly be putting pressure onto our Reinhardt barrier, and I think if they do that reliably, like with Soldier, Roadhog, and Reinhardt, they should just be able to smash through our barrier. We have Molten Core. We are actually in a pretty good position right now. If they start moving to the point, we're actually playing A-OK. This is more for the team in general. If you're playing with a Torbjorn on your team, do not be afraid to start pulling back to where the turret is. Keep in mind where that turret is, especially if you're playing the Reinhardt, and don't be afraid to start pulling back towards it if things start getting hairy. We have scrap built up. We should be giving that out as soon as possible. Like, what we're doing now is we're spamming. Someone could have a lot more hit points at the moment, and they're not getting it. Still not getting it. Still not getting it. Like, this Mercy could be way tankier. She should be way tankier, and there we go. Make sure you are keeping an eye on this scrap until, and even if, like, everyone is sort of topped off, don't be afraid to drop a few further back. And when I say further back, I actually do mean further back, because what you don't want is someone, like, taking a single hit and having, like, 70 armor and then picking up a fresh scrap pack. Like, you don't want them doing that. You want them picking up the armor kits when they need them, when they're getting that full 75 healing. Like, in this instance, for example, we don't want to be picking up our own scrap kit. We should be throwing it out, though. Like, there's still people without it. Farah's gone into the back line. But you notice, their Farah did a really bad job, I think a little bit further back here, where Farah isn't doing her homework, because if you're fighting against a Torbjorn, as I said before, fighting against Torbjorn and Symmetra is like doing your homework or doing your chores. You've got to make sure that, you know, you've done your homework, you've done your laundry, and then you can start having fun. This Farah, she hasn't done her laundry, she hasn't done her homework, and now it's catching up to her because the turret is just completely dicking her. And she dies for it. She can't stay out there. You've got to keep just spamming away and shooting, shooting, shooting. Okay, they've had to res for it. Farah's still in a terrible location. Now she has to just run. We're doing okay here, just shelling away. Let's get this armor pack out. Nice and soon. Good job. And again, we could just keep shelling onto the Roadhog. And honestly, like, we actually have good anti-tank capability here. If Symmetra can get onto them for a little while and Torbjorn can just put damage into them, Torbjorn's damage isn't to be underestimated. Really isn't to be underestimated. It can deal quite a lot of hurt. This Farah is just going to be annoying, but we can't really deal with the Farah, and this is one of the problems that does pop up in this match. as we have no good tool for handling this Farah, and she's going to become a problem unless she does something stupid like, you know, go into a small building where people can actually hit her in a cramped environment and fight her on even terms. Like, she shouldn't be doing that. Reinhardt should not be back here. Reinhardt, what are you doing? Face the threat from the enemy team, which is pretty much all coming from this way. Roadhog, Soldier, all in this direction. You want to be facing that and making sure that they can't just move in. Otherwise, we're still feeling pretty good. 6 seconds remaining. We've got Molten Core. Any post they go into, we can counter. But we want to be a bit careful with using this Molten Core, and we're going to see why in a couple of seconds. So we're shelling away, keeping the Farah busy. Farah is trying to get our turret. Wouldn't mind seeing us top this off. We use Molten Core, and this, I think, is way too early. They still have 45 seconds. Molten Core lasts for, I think, about 15, 18 seconds. I'm not quite sure on the specific number. I think it's about 15 seconds. Now, the enemy team make a pretty big mistake of actually trying to push into this. They could have just waited. Like, it's a Dune push trying to rush into a Molten Core. It's pretty bad news bears for this team. Reinhardt's now stuck. Gets right click to death. Torbjorn's right click. Decimates tanks. So it feels good, man. And now, they only have 20 seconds left to push. 20 seconds. Holy shit. We can rebuild our turret. It's free. No reason not to. Unfortunately, we start getting smashed a bit. Got to be a bit careful. Would like to see this turret get finished off. I know we need healing, but right now they're so focused on the front line that we could probably just afford to build it. And now they're going to start using some ultimates, which causes us some problems. I'm honestly surprised that we decided to rebuild the turret here. Okay, we could do a lot of good damage here. We could do a lot of good here. Justice comes in, gets a kill on us. And they get a really good res, so do we. But unfortunately, our turret isn't even up. Actually, our turret was up, I think. We didn't need to rebuild this. Rebuilding this is silly. We shouldn't have done that. We should have just left the turret, because trying to rebuild a turret in combat like this is just not going to work. You know, it's better to have like the 25-ish DPS, I think it's like 28 DPS from a tier 1 turret, than just, you know, scrapping it entirely and trying to make a tier 2 on the point, which just isn't going to happen. And now it feels bad, man. So now we have to swap, and honestly we do the correct thing here of swapping. So, yeah, so people ask, Torbjorn, can you switch? And we make an okay decision, I think. We make a good decision. We swap onto the Hanzo. And I'm perfectly fine with this swap. I think this is a good swap. I think this is the correct swap. I just think that we are now in trouble because we have 0 hit scan. And for some reason, Symmetra thinks that Farah is the answer here. This is honestly more of a team comp issue where we've seen that they are running pharmacy. Like, we need to deal with this pharmacy or it's just going to shit all over us. We have nothing to actually hit the pharmacy. We have tools to sort of make their life difficult with the Zenyatta. It's going to really make them hard. But we're gonna struggle. Did I misspeak? Did I say Hanzo instead of Zenyatta? Forgive me. Forgive me, Twitch chat. I do this at times. You know who I mean. And this guy's putting it out correctly. I think... no, he's currently saying to Mercy to go and support the Farah. I actually don't fully agree with that. I don't think pocketing the Farah here is a good answer. What pocketing implies is basically that's all you're doing. She should be assisting the Farah to help, like, to dislodge the soldier, for example, on the high ground. She should be prioritizing that. But in terms of rapid healing, we actually don't have too much because we've got the Zenyatta, which is like 30 heals per second. We definitely want to be keeping her around on the Reinhardt and such, and the Zarya. And you notice that we've instantly fallen apart here. And that's quite simple, because we have nothing to contest this Farah that's just slamming damage into us, and then stuff is on the high ground, and the Farah that we have just instantly got decimated by their soldier. And this is where the team starts to fall apart, okay? This is where the team really just starts to have a big problem. And honestly, there's nothing that we could do about this as ourselves. But what starts happening is people start looking for stuff to blame. And the blame instantly actually goes onto the Hanzo, which honestly I think is kind of wrong. I think the Hanzo's been doing his job so far. I honestly think, like, Hanzo, can you please switch? Hanzo's actually been doing okay. Hanzo's been doing his job. He's been killing the Genji repeatedly. He's been putting pressure on the enemy team. Now that we have a soldier, honestly, I think this team lineup is perfectly fine. And the Hanzo said no. At that point, like, you have two options. You can either let it go, or you don't do this, which is...
Man, can you just take your...
Oh god, and then instantly everything just falls to shit. And this is why I would call this episode Torbjorn and Tilt, because we had an okay start with Torbjorn. We could have been a bit more proactive with our armor packs and stuff like that. We could have done, our turret placement was okay, but we panicked a little bit too much and we misplaced it. Also, our molten core was a little bit off timing, but the main thing I wanted to focus on was the tilt aspect.
Your platinum opinion and shove it up your ass.
Because this starts happening. And this is, like, if you think about the sequence of events that started happening to this, it's someone like you started the game by saying, like, fuck no, Hanzo. Doesn't even give him a chance. People instantly start, like, they almost did a full hold on the first point. Honestly, I think we fucked up on the Torbjorn, and I think we cost ourselves a lot here. And we'll talk about all this fight on the Zenyatta in a second. But the sequence of events was just... Hanzo never got given a chance. Hanzo starts doing a good job. We almost do a full hold, and then it all falls apart because we have no answer to a pharmacy. Hanzo's not the answer to that, but Farah isn't the answer to that either. When we swap from the Symmetra to something else, we ended up getting a Farah for some reason instead of getting the Soldier 76 that we probably needed or could have used. We could have, you know, even like Widowmaker would have been okay in that situation, being honest, just to shut down this Farah. But I think Soldier would have been the perfect choice because it gives you a nice flexible complement to put pressure on their tanks and also put pressure on the Farah. I think that would have been perfectly fine. I think New Bastion will also be okay on the PTR. I think New Bastion would have actually worked fine here as well. We swapped onto the Zenyatta. Honestly, it's a good swap. Let's talk about these fights. Let's talk about a couple of things I actually saw here that I think we could have done better as well, which is pretty simple. So first things first, we get bad spawn. This always sucks, and I recommend if you are playing on Hollywood and you do manage to cap after getting a couple of kills, try and capitalize on this as quickly as possible. So when you start getting kills about here, and if the push-in is pretty smooth, like when you start getting around this corner, always be thinking, okay, they probably got some bad spawns. Let's capitalize on that. So let's talk about that capitalization, because when this happens, when you die and you've clearly lost the point, like this point is gone, you know, 1.6 meters, no one's in range, everyone's already dead. We actually wanted to go this way. That's just because it puts us closer to the cover. When we go this way, we run right in front of the entire enemy team, which is visible to all of them. And as a Zenyatta, like Torbjorn and Zenyatta have very similar hitboxes, just one floats, but Zenyatta is also a box, and he takes so much damage. Luckily, they don't manage to capitalize on it. Their soldiers should have been a bit more aggressive in hunting us down, I think, and could have gotten rid of us. Our Zarya is totally isolated. Soldiers sort of putzing around on the high ground. Be very careful when doing this. There's no reason we should be stood here at the moment. There's no reason we should be stood here at the moment while charging the right click. We should just right click, poke out fire, right click, poke out fire. Can you just take your platinum level opinion and shove it up your ass? Anyway, let's focus on what we're doing. Good job on the Roadhog. We want to be shooting the Hog. We want to make Hog's life a misery whenever we can. Roadhog's actually much worse at just roaming around when he has a Discord orb on him, and we can make sure that we can punish him anytime. Otherwise, we definitely want to be focusing on the Farah as well when possible. So like getting an orb on this Farah would have been nice. And especially when you see a Farah start positioning like aggressive like this is definitely looking for a rocket barrage. So I would have liked us to actually keep our eye on this Farah, because we actually do see a rocket barrage come out and we could have countered it. Because, listen, let's turn up the volume. Like, we're winning. And then this happens. Now-ish. There's still a Farah somewhere. I'm pretty sure this was the moment. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm lying. I'm lying. Farah actually fucked up and died. Okay. This is me being ill. But you notice that Hanzo fucking cleaned up. Like, Hanzo's doing his job. Why are people shouting at him? It's just not conductive, isn't it? It's not conductive. It's not useful. And I think the key lesson, really, that I want to pass out is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Or you don't have anything nice or constructive to say. Like, and this is also one thing that I want to point out, is that people are bad at, in general. I think this is true across Overwatch, because I don't think we have the tools to properly measure other people's performance. And as such, it gets very difficult. And I think we have a Bastion now, by the way. I think our soldier changed to a Bastion just to try and shore up this last moment defense. I don't think that was the right choice at all against a Farah. Oh, God, windy pops. But if you don't have anything nice or constructive to say, don't say anything at all, because it makes people hostile to each other. Bastion's dead. I'm honestly fine with us getting in here and discording this, but we want to be keeping an eye out on that Farah, and also notice the Mercy's back here. Nice. So we get some kills, but we don't need to actually be DPSing this. We just need to put discords on it, because the dragon will kill this. This is what I'm scared of. Because Farah gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. We should be paying attention to that. As Zenyatta, we actually have one of the best anti-Farah, like, ultimate, and anti-barrages in the game, because we deal so much damage. She's a static target. We should be putting our nuts onto Farah's face, basically. We should just be stopping that and putting an end to that. So I don't really want to be paying more attention to that. Unfortunately, Soldier gets the res as well, comes around, kills everything. Just because Bastion... It's a bit of a strange pick. Don't pick Bastion into Farah. New Bastion, maybe, because New Bastion, like, is pretty goddamn accurate, and you just kill her in recon mode. But old Bastion, definitely not. I need to fix my webcam as well. That's tilting me. So